If you'd asked me what I planned for today, it would never have occurred to me that I'd find a catfish that could talk. Megalodoras Uranoscopus. These catfish croak when they're frightened or under attack. When catfish are searching for their own kind, they occasionally produce these noises. One catfish will start to croak if you take it away from its school, for instance. Actually, the name talking catfish for these catfish and their cousins is not a coincidence. Many of them have the ability to produce audible noises, and they do so in a variety of ways. For instance, they can make a loud clicking sound by rubbing their spiny pectoral fins against their armor and then utilizing a muscle in the back of the head to resonate their swim bladder. And don't be frustrated if you're still unclear on how it operates. I was too. Fish anatomy is quite intricate. Contrary to popular belief, fish are considerably chattier than you may assume. According to a recent research, fish have used noises to communicate often throughout their history. According to scientists, the capacity to make sound independently developed 33 times. Scientists believe that they've been communicating for at least 155 million years. In the beginning, humans were only interested in noises that were audible to the human ear above the water's surface. Later, it was discovered that it's fairly loud underwater thanks to a device called a hydrophone. Fish are thought to communicate about a number of topics, including food and reproduction. They employ sound to entice females, deter predators, safeguard food or territory, and you can even distinguish between fish voices. For 18 months, researchers have been monitoring the noises made by different fish, and they've discovered some really intriguing patterns. It's very unexpected that they only recently started researching fish sounds, but scientists have justifications. Who could possibly suppose that fish could truly converse and do so actively? But this would be of interest to scientific researchers. First, they had to create sufficient apparatus. Only a limited proportion of animals can mimic human speech. The brain and voice cords are thought to control wherever this is feasible. You must be intelligent enough to produce human noises. You shouldn't anticipate all mice to speak fluent English overnight, even though seals can. However, a seal was particularly skilled at it. He was a resident of the New England Aquarium in Boston and is said to have been the first creature in history to have been taught to mimic human speech. Hoover was raised in a typical human home when his mother passed away and the baby seal was saved by humans. Hoover eventually started speaking with his owner's accent and using his most frequent words. When the seal reached adulthood, they were forced to send him to the New England Aquarium, where researchers began to take an interest in his abilities. We are aware of Hoover's ability to utter words like, "Get over here," "Get out of here," and "Hi, how are you?" Scientists couldn't understand how he could mimic human speech. They were able to prove that seals communicate more clearly than parrots. And Hoover was very chatty during the mating season. He must have made use of his understanding of human language to increase his chances of impressing women. In the 1970s, it was still unclear exactly what the seals were capable of doing. Only decades later did scientists start to figure things out. For instance, they've seen that baby seals start to raise their voice like people do when the surrounding noise level is increased. Such findings raise the notion that seals' brains and larynx may be connected. Only humans of these linkages have been discovered so far. Another study supports seals' amazing capacity to mimic human speech. They can learn and imitate many of the intricate sounds that are essential to human speech, and it goes beyond merely producing distinct vowels. Remember that our supposed closest primate relatives possess this ability. Seals can also sing the first few notes of melodies in a recognized manner. The theme music from Star Wars, for instance. The unique combination of characteristics shared by seals with few other animals includes a voice box or larynx that's similar to that of humans. Why seals have this amazing talent and not any other species is still a mystery. Perhaps their dynamic social structure has something to do with this. Is anyone else able to mimic human speech? Of course, orcas. Sometimes I feel like orcas could do anything if they really wanted to. Of course, an international team of researchers studying 2 orcas in a French aquarium discovered that orcas are capable of mimicking human speech, including exclamations and phrases like hello and bye-bye.
Hello. Bye-bye.
We can infer that orcas are able to memorize the noises they hear from this. This also explains why orcas from various places of the world have distinct vocalizations. Orcas from various places might not be able to communicate with one another fast and efficiently since they really have diverse dialects. If that's how animals often converse, they'll probably have to pause and ask the question once more. Scientists firmly disbelieve that orcas can grasp the human language, though. It's really more of an imitation with no discernible significance. There is no proof that even the one orca grasped the true meaning of hello. Now for the one that truly made me chuckle. In a whale and dolphin tank at the National Marine Mammal Foundation in San Diego in 1984, handlers overheard a weird murmuring. Although it appeared that two individuals were speaking in the distance, it was hard to understand what they were specifically discussing. However, the murmuring was heard again. This continued until one day a diver emerged from the tank and inquired as to who had instructed me to go. The caretakers finally understood that Knox, a male beluga whale, had been speaking all along. They began to record his voice exercises, and this continued for a while. It came out that Knox talked both above and below the water, spontaneously and on order, by himself and with other individuals present. Knox didn't speak in human with his relatives, though. He must have assumed they wouldn't comprehend it in any case. It's fascinating to note that the major frequencies of the sound, as well as the rhythm, loudness, and intervals between his vocal blasts, follow the pattern of human speech. They were perhaps a couple of octaves below his whale species' typical soundscape. Knox mimicked individuals for almost 4 years before reaching adulthood and ceasing his voice training. Knox has either lost the capacity or inclination to produce human noises. However, why did Knox first do it? He simply appeared to enjoy it. This animal was eager to give everything a shot. He enjoyed mimicking speech to get a connection going by watching people's responses. For Knox, it was a means of engaging in intriguing interactions with different animals. Elephants might also be able to pull off similar ruses if beluga whales can. They rank among the world's brightest animals after all, and we were able to locate a few examples. The most stunning one is most likely an elephant by the name of Corsic, who resides in the Everland amusement park close to Seoul. Corsic converses with his caretaker by mimicking human speech. Yes, he lacks a broad vocabulary. He's familiar with 5 of the earliest words, including hello and no good. Although it's said that Corsic can imitate a human voice convincingly, experts don't think he fully comprehends what he says. It has likely just been since this mimicking. It's unclear why Corsic even began to imitate human speech. Cognitive biologists speculate that it could be connected to his early life. For over 5 years, Corsic was the sole elephant housed at the zoo. At a critical juncture in his growth, he only interacted with humans while he was young. This could have had an impact on Corsic in such a manner that he started to change his vocalization to make it seem more human. This makes perfect sense. Logically, you'll fit into this group more easily if you speak in the same tones as the other group members. This has been shown in other species that can mimic speech as well. Sadly, we're unable to determine how comparable an elephant's speech is to that of a person. However, if any of you are familiar with Korean, please let us know in the comments how you would evaluate Corsic's pronunciation. Another elephant seems to be able to communicate effectively with a lot of human speech, Batir. That was the name of the elephant. He was a Soviet Union resident who lived in a zoo in Kazakhstan and had a vocabulary of more than 20 words. He could, for instance, request food and drink from the keepers and give himself praise or correction. Batir reportedly also mimicked other sounds as a bonus, including barking, whistling, and the grinding sound of rubber on glass. Batir's recordings appeared on radio and television when the media quickly became interested in his ability. Additionally, the tale of the talking elephant from Kazakhstan has been published in a number of animal behavior publications and conference papers. But here's the deal. Scientists haven't truly looked into Batir's powers. Batir didn't really know how to talk in a meaningful human-like fashion, so it's possible that people just engaged in wishful thinking. He's only recently learned how to make amusing noises. There must be animals who talk smack if there are creatures that mimic human speech or even speak like humans. You surely recall the tale of the zoo parrots that were so good at cursing once they picked up a few curse words, they had to be relocated from the guests, but this is a very different tale. It concerns Ripper, a male musk duck from Australia. Ripper was born and bred in captivity at the Titman Villa Nature Reserve. He's been heard shouting, "You bloody fool," and making the sound of a door slamming. According to researchers, Ripper probably heard this sentence from his nanny a number of times. Ripper was already 4 years old when the video was made, and he cursed like a human during an aggressive mating display. It's unknown how old the bird was when this sentence was first heard. By the way, it's probable that when the caretaker told the duck, "You bloody fool," Ripper mimicked the word food and left off the L from the phrase. But given that the recordings were produced more than 30 years ago, it's hard to interpret what the bird actually meant. There are several talking ducks of this species other than Ripper. Another Australian musk duck copied a different type of duck in the same reserve in 2000. Since it's still bird speak, it might not seem noteworthy, but it appears to me that ducks don't really care who they copy. Like humans, they don't care what we say when we meow at cats. For them, these are just nonsensical noises that other animals produce. We are aware of the usage of sound mimicry by other musk ducks, this time those from the UK, generating noises like their keeper's coughing fit and a turnstile's squeak. Like, share and subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.